We were talking because we were planning content coming up and what we wanted to do for the rest of the year. And I said to Dana, there's so much talk about this. I feel like I saw Colleen Reichman write something about influencers and body image and weight loss stuff on her social media. And then Khloe Kardashian had that really popular um, plus size body positive Remy on their podcast. I can't remember the name right now off the top of my head, but they had them on their podcast, and there's been a lot of talk about their health and body, and this has been coming up a lot. And one of the things I said was, how much influence does your influencer have over you? And I really feel like the truth is, do we even realize that we're giving them power? Because I don't think we always do, right? And I think myself included, that's why they're called influencers, that they have a really beautiful, easy, sneaky way of making you feel like you're not being influenced by them. It feels like, oh no, they're just a person just like me. And so I think there's a little bit of a need to lift the veil a little bit on influencer culture and what that looks like as a business owner and who they are as business owners and a brand themselves. And then again, asking you all to consider a little bit and reflect a little bit about how much influence are they really having over you. And it goes well beyond the perfectly stacked Amazon under the sink organizers. Like, it goes way beyond that. But I think one of the questions to ask yourself when you're considering this is, when you're scrolling, who are you absorbing as truth? And I think it gets real blurry really fast between what is truth, what is smoke and mirrors, what is influence, what is a brand, what that looks like. And I think this is something that we all can relate to. I think we've seen it over the past year so much with people starting to talk so much about noticing their favorite influencer or celebrity, the OG influencer celebrities, right? I'm thinking about Rachel Green, the OG original influencer. Everyone follows everything that Jennifer Aniston has ever done when we were growing up. And I think like now there's this illusion that everyday people are projecting a certain type of lifestyle. And it's really, really fascinating to me. And we've gone back and forth with talking about the role of influencers on body image and on our health. And now we're seeing more and more of them starting to talk about their perimenopause journey, their wellness journey, their weight loss journey, their Ozempic journey, and not disclosing certain stuff and what is happening in your internal world when you're absorbing this content as you're scrolling at the end of the day. I mean, I think it's just so easy in the influencer culture to compare yourself in multiple different layers to your body, your choices, your life, your lifestyle, the trips you're going on, literally everything now, to people we don't actually know.
Hmm. And I think it's important and very relevant to talk about this right now also because most millennials are not doing the best right now, like with the world, whether it's your job or it's your person. Like it's a hard time out here right now. And we as millennials are also in this very transitional phase, whether you're in or approaching perimenopause or you're having kids or your friends are having kids. And there's so many different life stages that are kind of happening at the same time, whether or not you also have different health conditions or like a health journey going on. And everyone is struggling with body image and body positivity with the rise of the age of Ozempic. And it makes a lot of sense that we would search out a form of escape in something like social media or consuming content or trying to find a new style or, I don't know, new skincare because we're all in our 30s and 40s and being like, what is happening with my skin? And like, how do I figure this out? And we weren't the 10-year-olds going to Sephora because that wasn't our braces loving wearing selves when we were in middle school, right? So we're seeking out a lot of information. We're kind of outsourcing information like we talked about in our protein episodes a couple of weeks ago. And so what we really wanted to talk about is showing some of these smoke and mirrors that we have been hearing about, but then also making a point for you to do some kind of self-examination of how much is this affecting me? Because a lot of this is very sneaky. And even if you're just following someone because you really like their jeans, or you really like the clothes that they wear, or you love their makeup content, or you love their organizational content, we also want to take this as an opportunity to help you explore how much, or is this feeding an internal shame spiral for you, and how is that coming about? And we're going to leave you with a little bit of a takeaway, download PDF situation to help you do this also, as well as taking you through some different prompts and stuff throughout this episode. I love these kinds of episodes because this was a very spur of the moment. We had just recorded another episode and I was like, Christina, do you want to do this right now? Because we're talking about this and we're fired up about it and we need to get into it. She's like, okay, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Elodie's home today, so if she comes in and interrupts, I guess Daniel will cut it out, but she's
She's like, yeah,
downstairs.
those influencers too.
I think when you were talking about the millennials specifically and us specifically and the place that we're going to, in a lot of ways, are the influencers can feel so validating, right? Because a lot of times they're sharing very real, very vulnerable, exact things that we feel that we're living in our day-to-day life. And I think that sometimes that can really create an illusion of that we know them and that we feel like we know someone or that we really relate to them. And so we take what they're saying as fact or as this is a truth because I agree with them. I have felt this way. So therefore, this is something that I could use and benefit. And if it benefit them, maybe it would benefit me too.
Which
And
sometimes, yes,
totally
completely.
that's why I've ordered things from influencers, right? Or like
Christina
this
influenced me earlier today on some clothes and skincare stuff. We get it.
like I totally get it, right? Like I have a very curated like to know it or whatever it's called. So I mean, I totally can understand and can relate to this. I think one of the things that we sometimes forget is that we don't actually know them. There's an illusion of intimacy that we get with influencers that we don't actually really have in real life. I think one of them actually that I just saw on Instagram talked about this on the flip side from their perspective. They were showing their kids on their Instagram and one day they were going to Home Depot and a woman came up to them and started talking directly to their child as if they knew their child. And she was like, "Whoa, I just realized that there's no way that my child could ever really understand um and consent to this." And so they took them off of their Instagram as a result of it. I mean, I totally understand that. But also at the same time, it happens on the flip side too. Like you think that you know them, but you do not know them. You know their curated content, and that's exactly what it is because these people are brands. They are creating a curated brand for themselves to sell you products so they can make money as a Amazon influencer, as a insider for Madewell or whomever they're doing their stuff with. Insert product here. They are contacted by brands to sell their product. I have heard from several body positive influencer, they have all talked about how Wegovy reached out to them directly to use their product and sell their product on their Instagram pages. Some people said that they decided not to do it. Some people decided to do it. You don't know who those people are unless they disclose it to you. And I think this is where a lot of the topic is coming up right now is that people are saying, well, do they have an obligation to disclose it to you? No, they don't, guys. They don't have an obligation to disclose anything to you. Of course not. But that doesn't mean that you don't have a responsibility to evaluate that and how much they're influencing you and the realities of that. I think the truth is like you have to kind of lift the veil a little bit and realize that they don't have to disclose everything to you. They don't have to do this. They don't have to tell you what they're doing, but you're being influenced by them. They are curating the way that you feel, think, and believe about your body, what products you need to be buying, what your home should be looking like, what your car needs to look like, what your picnic basket needs to look like, what your kids need to be eating. And you need to take into consideration whether or not you want them influencing you and to what degree you're going to allow them to influence you and how much are you going to compare your life to them. To me, the biggest takeaway from this is like you have to think about it from a little bit of a curated thing. And I really do feel like it's important to share a little bit of the behind the scenes because there are realities here that people don't realize until you learn about it. Maybe you've already learned this, but this was like new to me, lifting the veil a little bit from some influencer behavior and things that are going on in influencer culture.
Yeah, well, I learned this morning. Christina was telling me this, that there are the influencers in more of like the home aspect of things, whether that's organizational or cleaning or whatever. There are people who rent separate homes and apartments, not as like an office, but to film their content for short form. So for TikTok, for Instagram, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, look how clean my house is. Here's this Shark vacuum that I use. Like, here's all these different things." They don't actually live there. So Christina made this great point of they, especially the mommy bloggers are,
Mhm.
"Oh, look how clean my house is," or whatever. And if you're a mom, if you have young kids, it's like, how am I like they can really get their house to look like that? And there's a weird old diet culture, fitness culture, shamey thing that comes into this. That's the if I can do it, then you can do it too. If I got my
Mhm.
house looking from this to looking like this, or if I got my body from looking like this to looking like this, of course, like, look how overwhelmed I am. If I can do it, you can do it too. Turns out, I don't know how many of these people, but at least some of them are not actually living in the spaces where they are
No.
filming content.
Their
And
children don't even live there. Like,
right.
they do not live there. It is a staged home set up for them to film their content because a lot of them found it to be cheaper and made sense for them. And also, but it feeds into the narrative. Like, I understand as like a business mind, it's like, yes, I should film my content in another place. It's privacy. They don't know where I live. They might be able to figure out where I live. I want to have more separation for my kids or whatever. The problem with that is, like, yes, I can understand that. That seems like a very thoughtful decision to protect your space. But at the same time, unless you disclose that to the people who are absorbing your content, what I remember looking when I heard this about people renting separate homes, I was not at all surprised because I remember like so many times I'd be flipping through this organizational thing and they'd be like, "Oh, I have 3 kids at home." And I remember being like, "Where are the stupid stickers? Where are the stickers that are like stuck to all of the random shit?" Like, I don't see that anywhere. I have 2 kids at home. And let me tell you, if I turned my camera around, you guys would see newly openings everywhere, clothes everywhere, Noah's socks on the like a little rock that Elodie put on my thing, like all kinds of random stuff everywhere. And to me, I feel like this is the thing with the illusion of stuff, right? They're allowed to do whatever they want to do. Of course, they can rent a space if they want, if they're a really big blogger, they're really well known, and they don't want people to find out where they live. Of course, I would also want privacy and protection for my family and wouldn't want people having that. Then disclose it. This isn't
And
my
then
home.
don't sell the if I can do it, you can do it too, because that's not the reality of what you're doing.
And then push you to buy their products, right? And so it creates this like effortless type of lifestyle that is attainable. I feel like this also with the homesteaders too. It's like, oh, don't disclose that you come from, you have to have an exorbitant amount of money in order to start this lifestyle. And I think also too what it does is it props up this effortlessness and this ease in which you can obtain this carefree motherhood, this easy morning routine, these incredible body changes that just happen naturally when you take care of yourself. And like, little do you know that they got Ozempic like 3 years ago and they've been taking it for this whole time, or that they have a personal trainer that they're not disclosing to you, or they're doing whatever it is that they're doing. And I think like the truth is like your life would look different too if you had endless times, money, childcare, and help as well. And also at the same time, your house would also look different if you had a separate apartment where no one else lived.
Yeah. Well,
You
the other
could do a Sunday cleaning, a deep clean on Sunday in an hour when no children are there to film the content really quickly because you don't have the little glitter gremlins coming around and sprinkling glitter where you just cleaned immediately afterwards. So to me, I feel like we have to look at the content that we're absorbing with a lot more of a, again, a critical eye because I think you have to go into this with a little bit of ugh, how am I feeling about this? And we're going to provide you with reflective questions for you to kind of think about that. But I'd love, Dana, for you to talk a little bit about how this like home blogger can quickly turn into a wellness guru and like someone that you're taking there or like selling their clothes. And the next thing you know, you are looking to them as guidance for how to handle your symptoms and everything. Because it's 9 out of 10 times they all do this. I have
Yeah.
seen this pattern over and over and over again.
Yeah. This is great timing because I was just discovering this about someone I used to follow last night. So, no names here, right? I think the important thing to remember behind this is a lot of the time, this is how people make their money, whether that's a side hustle or for a lot of these really big influencers, it's their main gig. And so if they don't sell you stuff consistently, if you don't use their like to know it or their Amazon Associates links or whatever consistently, they're not making money.
Mhm.
So it's important to remember that because this is the same thing as a diet. And I always used to say this about Whole30, right? It's like if people don't keep coming back to the thing that they are selling you, it's not a sustainable business model. And so always just keep that in the back of your mind. So we have seen this so frequently in the age of Ozempic. And this is not just with people who use Ozempic. This is so many different people,
Oh,
right?
so many things. Yeah.
Like, I think after COVID, a lot of millennials were like, I don't know how to dress myself anymore. And so we all started following a lot of
um,
these
totally.
seemingly very, at the time, seemed very relatable, just regular people who were sharing about their style and where they were finding these clothes from and like how to make it more affordable and, whatever. Great. And it was really cool at the time. Were we like adding a lot more stuff to cart than we were before? Yeah, probably. Not always following through with buying it, but that was happening a lot. And then all of a sudden, I feel like this was maybe last summer or like last
Hmm.
year, Christina and I started to notice this a lot more. And I'm like, I feel like these people are shrinking. Like what is going on here? And so we had seen this a lot more. And so I had started unfollowing a lot of these people, not because necessarily their bodies were changing, but I was like, I don't want to be looking at clothes that I feel like I should be buying all the time because I'm
Yeah.
trying to save some money here.
Also,
So,
just throwing this out there, they buy them, they shoot the content, and then they return all of it. So
yep.
that is another thing that they're promoting a consumption cycle that they're not actually participating in to get you to buy their stuff so you get it. Now, granted, I love a good free people dupe. I've been known to buy them. The shirt that I'm wearing is one. I get it. It's cool. But you don't have to buy it all the time. It perpetuates a shame and envy with why can't I keep up? They're not keeping up.
Yeah. And
You're
like
not behind.
complete overconsumption is
Yeah,
just
you're not behind.
crazy. Yeah. So then a pattern that we have now seen so many times is a lot of these people are in this pipeline of you are a very really seemingly relatable influencer to fashion influencer to now people are commenting on their bodies if their bodies are changing or maybe their body was never changing before but then people are horrible and they got some comments on their bodies and now the influencer internalized that and they're like, oh my god, I need to do something about my body. So now they're on this like fitness wellness journey, whatever. And then this cycle is reinforced because people are like, oh my God, you look so good. What are you doing? And then they start posting about their meals that they're eating. And then they start posting their meal plans. And then they start posting what I eat in a day. And all of a sudden, under their affiliate links, they're like, just buy this meal plan. Or, oh, I'm also taking this supplement. Or, oh, buy this Peloton equipment. Or, oh, buy this whatever. And let me tell you, from the other side of things, if you are buying the big ticket items with these people's associate links or whatever, they're making a lot of money. They're not making a dollar, right? They're making
Mm-mm.
like one, two, three, $400 based on one purchase that you're making for
And
this
if you
stuff.
think about how many followers they have, this could be hundreds of thousands of dollars, like
Right.
really, really fast. When they start doing this stuff and you start seeing results, I think two layers come in. One is this I can ask them because I feel like I know them, right? And so you feel like, how are you doing this? What are you doing? And then they're seeing it from like, oh, my people want to know because because they care about their relationship with you, you care about their relationship with them. And so they're doing all this stuff and they either decide, I'm going to disclose what I'm doing and here's what I'm going to do, or some don't. And then, but the thing is, regardless of that, they use the results of the decisions that they're making to sell you a lifestyle and a product. And a belief that gets internalized on your end is, well, if it works for them, and I went to them originally because I kind of looked like them. We looked
Mhm.
alike. So if I do what they're doing and buy the products that they're doing, maybe I'll look the same way. This is sounding a lot like a diet. And
Mm.
every single wellness guru influencer out there from beginning of time, I think that's, like, the thing that's important too. Like, we're focusing on the wrong thing about whether or not they need to disclose. We need to focus on the thing of the results that they're having based off of the decisions that they're telling you or not is selling you a product, a lifestyle that you wanna have, that you feel bad about yourself if you don't have it. It's no different than the perfectly organized under the sink thing that you're like, "Why doesn't my sink look like that?" And it's like, "Oh, newsflash, that's not their house."
Yeah.
"Oh, newsflash, they they got bariatric surgery and didn't tell you about it." Or they had this thing where they had this private trainer come to their home, or like they like whatever it was and they didn't tell you about it, but yet they made it seem effortless and easy. And then next thing you know, they're sliding into wellness scripting.
Yeah. Well, then even so this person that I was following yesterday, they are now posting before and after pictures. And
Oh, geez. Yeah.
it's so annoying because you never sign up for that. Listen, these people can post whatever they want,
Of course. Their can change, all of the
right.
things.
But it just feels like so much of a bait and switch. And it also can feel like a disappointment, right? Because if you have tried really hard to curate your feed to this person is great for this season of my life because they are similar body size to me and I really like their style and I'm just following them for different, very casual outfit inspiration and whatever. Maybe you don't see them for a couple months and then you come back and all of a sudden it's like bikini before and after photos. And I'm like, how we lost the plot. I've said this in so many episodes lately. We've lost the plot. And now, not only have we lost the plot from that, they're now a weight loss coach. What do you
And
mean? They have a separate account that's all about their fitness journey and they're literally weight loss coaches now. And it's back to the just because you have lost weight does not mean you are a weight loss coach. Just because you eat a certain way doesn't mean that that is a good prescription for you to give out to other people. But then you
yeah.
have to remember these people are not actually practitioners. They have no do no harm principle. They are also not, and this is a great point that Christina brought up before we started recording, they are not actual advertisers in that they are not held to the same standards. Think about any drug commercial that you have
Mhm.
ever seen that has like the equivalent of some person reading off at an auction, like all the different numbers that are coming up at the end of the commercial. That's like, you should not take this if you are allergic to this medicine. Blah, 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 blah. They
Yep.
don't have to do any of that. They can say whatever they want, and no one is coming after them.
There's
And
no
so it's just,
accountability. They can make huge health claims with zero accountability, and the thing is you're still getting influenced by it. And it's really hard to not get influenced by this. And so the question isn't whether or not, like, they like we've said over and over again, they have every right to do whatever they
whatever they
want
want.
on it. But the question is, how much power are you willing to give them? How much power are you willing to give them based off of their content? How do you feel after you consume their content? Why are we giving them this much influence and impact over our mental health, our physical health, the ways that we're feeling, seeing, believing, all of the things? And I get it. I understand why we go to the online girlies to get information because we don't feel like it's available anywhere else. We feel like our doctors don't provide us with information, all these different things. And so we want to do this stuff, but we have to remember and have to question how much power are we willing to give them, especially if they're not disclosing to us the realities of what they're doing. I think we have to remember that they don't have to tell us anything. And we also need to remember that there is probably a lot going on behind the scenes that you have absolutely no information on. And yet we're making huge life decisions in some cases based off of what they're telling us they're doing.
Mhm.
And I think
Or
it's
having
time.
that internal shame spiral is, whether consciously or subconsciously, going on in the
Totally.
background. It's hard.
It's so hard, but I think we really need to question this. And so to me, it's not about blaming influencers. It's about leading with a more curiosity and like I said, a critical eye. And we can't not be influenced. Like that's why they are in place. They're influencers. They have hooked us in. And believe me, I love them too, right? And so the truth is, but we can start asking better questions. We can start taking their content in with a little bit more of a critical eye. We can reclaim our feed. We can start doing these things. We can start to curate certain types of stuff. And so that's what the guide that we're going to provide you to is going to get more into. It's going to be about how do we like questions to reclaim your feed and in peace kind of thing. We're workshopping the stuff, the name, whatever. But it's basically like our little influencer audit. We love a good audit. So if you've been here for a while, that's our vibe. So we have some questions that we want you to look at and to come into this a little bit more. And then also too, like how much of this do you want to change? Maybe nothing. Maybe we're like, I love it. I'm here for it. I'm going to go for it. And you know
Whatever.
what?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love that. To me, it's always been about allowing the people to have informed consent. If you're aware of all of this and you're still into it, I feel you. I get it. Go for it. Right. But if you weren't aware of it, then you're not consenting to any of this. Truly, you cannot have informed consent unless you are informed of what's going on. So that's what these questions are going to be for, is around you helping you like examine this a little bit, think about it a little bit different, and reflecting and making change if you want to.
Yeah. So that'll be linked on Patreon. We have 350 episodes coming up soon, or like we're coming up on hitting 350 episodes on
Oh my God.
debunking all of this stuff and going through different wellness trends and stuff. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, how could this still be affecting me? It affects us too. Okay.
Hell yeah,
We're
definitely.
not
And the
alone.
game is always changing. So,
Yes, the game is constantly changing. And so we are constantly reflecting, evolving, and protecting our peace as much as possible in this crazy world.
yeah, exactly. All right. Bye.